Hello and welcome back to the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and like I always say, if you haven't subscribed yet and you've been here before, please do so and hit that bell and that thumbs up button. And if this is your first time here, I hope you enjoy it and I hope you subscribe and also hit the thumbs up button. Okay. Something truly incredible is happening, continues to happen. The Knicks can't lose. The Knicks have won 9 in a row. They just finished kicking Toronto Raptor butt all over Madison Square Garden. Yeah, they came back, they made it close, they even took the lead. But you know what? I never for once thought the Knicks were going to lose this game. 120-103, 17-point victory. It could have been even bigger, actually. And it could have been bigger if the Knicks had shot more threes. That's right. The Knicks only shot, let's see, the Raptors shot 44 threes and the Knicks only shot 31. Yep. Now the Knicks hit 51.6% of those and the Raptors hit 38.6% of those, but that means they hit 17 3-pointers and we hit 16. At the end of the day, we want to shoot more 3-pointers, and I'm going to bring that through to the playoffs. I'm going to show you guys what the Knicks can actually accomplish this year. This year, we were wondering if they were even going to get to the play-in. Now the conversation has changed completely. We are talking about something completely different now. Let's watch some of these highlights, though, as I talk about the Knicks. And can the Knicks make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? That's right. You heard me. Can they make it past the second round to the Eastern Conference Finals? Now, there's people out there, they're saying, hey, why can't the Knicks be this year's Miami Heat, and get all the way to the finals? Let me tell you, I'm not going to say they can't. I'm not. But I'm going to take it in sections at a time. I'm going to focus right now on the second round because I believe if things stay as they are, and let's go to the playoff bracket. If things stay as they are, you'll see that either the Miami Heat or the Charlotte Hornets will play the 76ers in the first round, and the Knicks will play the Hawks in the first round. Now, I really, despite the fact that the Hawks have been playing very well, I just think the Knicks we match up really well with them, and I had predicted a victory before, and they pulled it out the other night. Even though Trey, he had to leave the game, I still think the Knicks we can beat these guys in a 7-game series, even if they got back DeAndre Hunter. I know they're missing him. They're missing Gallinari as well. But, Gallinari is so injury prone. I really don't expect him to make it into the playoffs to play. I don't. That's one of the big knocks against him. He's always been injury prone. So what's the matchup in the second round? All right, Philadelphia and either Miami or Charlotte. Now, if Charlotte sneaks in, somehow manages to beat the Heat, Charlotte doesn't have any chance without LaMelo to beat the Sixers. But let's say Miami gets in there. Let's say Miami gets the 7th seed and they rough the Sixers up a bit for us. They rough them up, but the Sixers still manage to eke out that first round win. Now, when I say eke out, remember this. The Sixers won one playoff series last season and then lost to the Celtics. They got swept. So even though they're poised to have the best record in the Eastern Conference, honestly, I'm not going to give them anything until they earn it. And same goes for any team at this point. But except Brooklyn is a whole different animal. If everyone is healthy in Brooklyn, that's a different discussion. But so right now we're talking about the Sixers and the Knicks colliding in round 2 of the Eastern Conference playoffs. All right. Well, let's jump back to this. Let's go to the second half highlights of the Toronto game. I'm jumping around all over the place because I'm having such a good time with these Knicks. I'm sure you guys are too. I mean, the world is on fire right now for these Knicks. It's the hottest team in the NBA. And the way they're playing is so exciting. It's just wonderful. It's a great team effort. I mean, everybody contributed except for one person, which I won't even name because I'm in too good a mood. But everybody, look, see the score? Toronto took the lead there. But then came Julius, and this three was a huge bucket. And let me tell you, Toronto's a good team. The reason that I decided to make this video is because of the way the Knicks beat Toronto. Toronto was fully healthy. I think so. I think fully healthy. Basically fully healthy. They had all their horses there, and they played well, except for Lowry didn't really play that well. But you guys saw what Van Vliet can do, man. That guy, tremendous. If he had been our point guard this whole time, what the Knicks could have accomplished. Which really brings me to the main point. The reason the Knicks can beat the Sixers is because of Derrick Rose. That's right. We now have and this guy, Emmanuel Quickly. We have a real point guard who knows how to make the teammates on the court that he shares the court with better. And when he can't find a good shot for a teammate, he will create a good shot for himself. And that is the key to being a great point guard. And we all know he's a great point guard. We just, he's just 32 years old. He's lost a half step or two, the injuries, all that stuff. But look what he's done in return. He's increased his 3-point efficiency to, he's shooting. He's right now, when he puts it up, I think it's going to go in almost every time. I never think it's not going to go in. So he's the big key. Now I'm going to take you in through some data, some stats to show you that the Knicks that we are watching now are a very, very different team than the Knicks that began the season. And let's start with the plus-minus history. Here we go. All right, so the Knicks in December, when the season started, were a minus 4.4 in plus-minus. And then in January, they rose up to a minus 0.9. So, they increased already like 3 points or so, 4 points or so. And then in February, they're a 4.9. Now, they had a really good month in February, and they had a decline in March. But let's look at the pre-All-Star numbers. So, they were a half a point plus-minus, which is pretty nice. And the Sixers were 3.5. But in post-All-Star, look what's happened here. The Knicks are a 4.9. And the Sixers are right below them with a 4.8. Yeah. All right. Now let's keep going with the trend. The last 9 games. 10.2 for the Knicks. 10.2. And the Sixers are on minus 1.7. Now, interestingly enough, the Embiid played in almost all of those last 9 games. I think the last game he didn't play, but he played in the other 8 games. Ben Simmons didn't play in the last 4 games. So there were, so there were 3. Yeah, okay. So there was only 1 game where Simmons and Embiid did not play, and that was the last game against the Bucks, which they got destroyed in. So it's not like we're looking at some numbers that are that crazy. Though Simmons really impacts the Sixers defensively tremendously. All right. So now you see it. Look, and then post All-Star, 4.9. All right, let's go to the net rating comparison of the Sixers and the Knicks. We have advanced stats. This is the whole season. The Sixers 39-21, the Knicks 34-27. Now let's look at the pre-All-Star where we were. All right, the Sixers were 24-12, and the Knicks were 19-18. The net rating for the Sixers was a 3.3, and the net rating for the Knicks was a 0.6. So, all right, it tells you the story there that definitely the Sixers, before the All-Star break, were a far superior team than the Knicks. But the defensive rating were almost the same. The Knicks were, I think, first and second. The Sixers and Knicks were first and second. Now, post-All-Star game, the Knicks' offensive rating rose up to 112.3. Better offense. Sixers dropped to 110.8. Now, the defensive rating was 105.9. Still really good for first, but look, the Knicks right behind, 107.3. Now that 2.4 is significant, but in net rating, look, it's almost the same. because the offense got better. And the offense got better because Derrick Rose came and joined the Knicks. And the Knicks started shooting more three-pointers. Look at the net rating. Minus 1.2 in the last 9 games for the Sixers, and the Knicks are number 1 with a 10.2, I think, or 10.0. Man, and remember, those last 9 games, Embiid played in 8 of them, and Simmons played in 5 of them. Yes, he's missed the last 4 games for some unknown reason. But, and that really impacts, like I said before, the defensive, impact. I mean, Ben Simmons is probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. All right, now, before we jump over to something else. Okay, so what I'm trying to show you is that the Knicks in the first half of the season was offensively challenged. And we know why. There were several reasons why. Number one, Julius was in the infancy of his new Master of the Universe version that he is now. Remember we would joke around and call him LeJulius Brandle and stuff like that because he was showing flashes of being like a LeBron James-esque type player. Well, now, as we all know, he's settled in. Now he's an all-NBAer. I think he's, like I said before, he's second team. Definitely second team. And people are even talking about him getting some MVP votes, which well-deserved. He's in the conversation for MVP right now, I believe. Still, it might be hard for people to accept that the Knicks can actually topple the Sixers if the Sixers are at full strength. All right, the question is, though, will the Sixers be at full strength? I don't know. Embiid has been injury-prone his entire life. Same for Simmons. And let me tell you, I don't know. Until they actually beat a tough team in the playoffs, I'm not going to give it to the Sixers at all, like I said before. And let's look at, you say, well, didn't the Sixers, haven't they beaten the Knicks all 3 times this season? Yes, they have. I'm not even going to look at the first game they played, which was the second game of the whole year. And that's the game that Simmons just totally locked RJ up. And, RJ was still a baby back then. He's still a baby now. He's only 20. He's only 20, and he's the second best player on the 4th seed of the Eastern Conference Finals. So what does that tell you? It tells me that this kid could pull a Jason Tatum surprise when he took the Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals? When he was a rookie? Or the division final? I can't remember exactly, but no one knew what he was going to do. And no one knows what RJ is going to do in the playoffs. To me, he just keeps getting better and better. He's leveling up right in front of our eyes. And we've all seen Randall. Randall is like beyond leveled up. So these two, the leaders on this team, are playing, you can't say they're playing well above their heads. That's the whole point. They're playing well within their talents. Their abilities are finally showing on the court. And RJ is so much younger, so let's see. Who knows? He might explode. He might be a 24-point a game postseason guy. That happens. Let's look at the 2 comparisons here. So this game here, this was, I think it was the March 20, I forgot which one it was. This was the first one that we played against them in March. And this game here, the Knicks collapsed in the 4th quarter, if you remember. We had the lead, collapsed in the 4th quarter. Randall only scored 19 points, only hit 1 of 3 from the 3. And no one else really did much, though Burks, again, did deliver some points. But look at Obi, nothing. Nilikina even played, and I don't think he scored a point either. And we didn't have Peyton start or Derrick Rose. No Derrick Rose. No Derrick Rose. Yeah. And we only shot 24 three-pointers. That's very few. Now let's go to the next game. Let's see what how the Knicks did the next game. Yeah, see, look, we hit 33% of those 24 three-pointers, which is below what we're capable of. All right, so this was that brutal game, 101-100. We lost in overtime, and again, the Knicks only shot 24 three-pointers. Now we hit more of them, We hit 11 of them, but we only shot 24. That's not the Knicks team today. Knicks, we are now shooting on average 33 to 38 3-pointers now. So that's another additional 10 3-pointers that the Knicks are going to shoot. We would have won this game. And again, look, no Derrick Rose. So you're going to tell me that this team, that team back then, with Derrick Rose on it, could not have beaten the Sixers both those times? Now, Embiid didn't play. He did not play. But Simmons played. He was right there. And right now, the way this team is coming together, they're really poised to make some serious noise, just like they did today against the Toronto Raptors. I mean, that team won the championship just 2 seasons ago. Yeah, they're missing Kawhi Leonard, but they have everybody else right now. Everybody else who was part of that team. And they're playing well. They're playing very well. So, but the Knicks are playing better. I'm telling you, the Knicks are for real. And the streak's going to keep going. And fear right now should be in the heart of every single Eastern Conference potential opponent of the New York Knicks. Because this team is so gritty and they play such tremendous defense and they trust each other and they're so focused on one mission, winning the game that's in front of them and making the right play. Play the right way. That's Larry Brown. Larry Brown. And it works, man. Everybody says it. And also, the Knicks have a coach, Thibodeau, who knows how to win. He was part of that team. He worked for Doc Rivers when they won with Boston. And, you know, he's been on the USA teams. The guy just, he's a defensive savant. And now he's opened up his offensive side of the game. And he's got his man, Derrick Rose, leading the way. I think that when Burks comes back and we get closer towards the end of the season, we might finally see a situation where Derrick Rose starts and the second unit point guard duties go to Burks and IQ. They get split between the two of them. And if needed, you know, we still have Frank Ntilikina, who's, you know, great defensive player, and he can definitely come in and, you know, he can help, he can fill it in a little bit. And if Elfrid Payton, if he can straighten himself out and start making his teammates better on the court instead of worrying about getting his own, then I think he has a role on this team as well in the second unit. So, the Knicks, yes, they can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals if their opponent in the second round is the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I will do a video later on if possibly it might be the Bucks that they face. Who knows? The Knicks might slip to 5th. We don't know. It could happen. Or to 6th. But I doubt it. I think the Knicks are going to hold on to the 4th seed. And I pretty much think the whole thing is going to play out pretty much the way we see right here in this playoff bracket. I don't really think much is going to change here. So, all right. Well, thank you for watching. If this is your first time, I mean, whatever. If you're just here, subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button for me. Really appreciate it. And yes, there's still a couple hats left. So please reach out to me. Go for it. And see you around the Knicks-Verse.